But anyway, Mr. Khaitan has been a philatelist for over 20 years and was elected to the Fellow of the Philatelic Congress of India and a Fellow of the Royal Philatelic Society, London. His philatelic interests are Indian airmails, civilian wartime mail, underpaid airmail, and auxiliary markings on airmails. He has participated in many competitive stamping exhibitions, given talks, and displayed parts of his collection across the world. He has also set up a foundation, the Khaitan Foundation, to promote philatelic awareness and research. His exhibit on Indian crash mails won the Champion of Champions Award in the Indian National Stamp Show, Armprex 2023. He is the founder and chairman of the newly formed Airmail Society India Foundation and a member of the American Philatelic Society as well as the American Airmail Society. So, Mr. Piyush, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Gary. So just, 8 years after the Wright brothers first invented the aeroplane and flew in 1903, we have this massive event happening where mail was carried for the first time in an officially sanctioned flight. This happened at a place called Allahabad, which is somewhere in the northeastern part of the country. And that really is the birth of airmail. So I thought this is a subject that would be of interest to airmail collectors worldwide, and therefore reached out to Gary and wondered if this would be of interest to AAMS members. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to start with, on this slide, you see the circular cachet in the middle of the slide. This is the special cachet that was designed and affixed on all mail that was carried on this flight in 1911. There was an exhibition that was organized in Allahabad. It was called the UP exhibition, UP standing for United Provinces, the UP exhibition. And this went on for a few months, actually, started somewhere in December 1910 and went on till February 1911. So we see here a picture postcard with the welcome arch for the exhibition. And we see an aeroplane flying up above it. So this is actually the aeroplane in which the mail was carried. This plane reached Allahabad a couple of months before this flight and was doing several demonstration flights up there. So this is a picture from one of the demonstration flights. And obviously some interesting philatelist got this postcard and mailed it on the first flight itself. So the reverse of the postcard has the postage stamp cancelled with the magenta cancellation. And in the text, he actually writes about the aeroplane over the welcome club at the exhibition handling the aerial post. So with this, we'll go to this leaflet I have. This is actually, I've cut it in two parts to fit it into the screen, but it's actually a single sheet which is about 200 mm, so about 10 inches long, and describes the entire event. I'm going to read this out. It's going to take me 2 or 3 minutes, but I think this will give you a complete understanding of what this was all about and the philatelic importance of the event. So it says, aviation at Allahabad, the first aerial post. Allahabad is shortly to witness an experiment of an interesting nature. It will be remembered that during the siege of Paris in 1871, the only means of communication with the outer world open to the besieged was the dispatch of letters by means of the balloon. In time of war, any city in the world might find itself similarly placed. Captain W. Wyndham, who has been associated with the aeroplane since its adoption, wishes by means of practical experiment to demonstrate how this latest achievement of modern invention can be adapted to meet such a situation. An aeroplane flying at night would be difficult to discover, and even if discovered, would be almost impossible to hit. Captain Wyndham has accordingly obtained special permission from the Postmaster General of the United Provinces of Agra and Awadh approved and sanctioned by the Director General of Post Offices in India to inaugurate the first official aerial post. It will be carried from the UP exhibition to a post office receiving station outside the exhibition. And from there, the letters will be dispatched to any part of the world to which they may be addressed. Both the Directors General and the Postmaster General are highly interested in the experiment, and the latter will personally supervise the necessary details. The exhibition post office will impress each stamp with a die specially cut in the postal workshop at Aligarh, incorporating a design of the actual aeroplane on which the mail is to be carried, encircled by an inscription containing the words Aerial Post Allahabad Exhibition, together with the year and date of dispatch. These letters will be the first in the world to be dispatched by means of an aeroplane from a government post office in the ordinary course of its business, and will be carried by Monsieur H.P.K., the well-known aviator, from the exhibition to the receiving office. It is anticipated that numbers of people, including stamp collectors and others in India and elsewhere, will avail themselves of this unique opportunity of sending to their friends letters which in time may become very valuable in consequence of having been the first communication officially carried through the air by aeroplane under the post office regulations. Considering the weight and space, considerations of weight and space make it necessary to place a strict limit on the size and number of letters carried. It is therefore proposed to charge a nominal sum of 6 annas on each letter or postcard so carried. This amount will be given without deduction as a donation to the new building of the Oxford and Cambridge Hostel, Allahabad. The post office will sanction no charge whatsoever over and above the ordinary rate of postage, and the additional 6 annas, which will be made over to the above charity, is simply a means to prevent the overloading of the mail, and at the same time to help the above excellent institution in its educational work among Indian students. So, this, I think, is a marvelous piece of drafting. What they've really done is, they know they're venturing into deep waters. Something like this has never been done before, but they've really brought about the justification, the benefit, and the fact that it's an officially sanctioned flight very, very clearly. I'm not aware of any postal notice itself being issued at that time. I really don't know what this leaflet is, whether it's a post office leaflet or whether it was printed by the exhibition authorities, or it's just something that came in the newspaper and got reprinted. But it's a very clear contemporaneous piece of paper around the time of the flight. Now, what they had also done was they said people in Britain could also send mail to be posted on the flight, and they would have to attach a postal order of 6 pence. So what you see on the top left is a postal order of 6 pence for the aeroplane post that was sent along with a letter from Britain to be carried on the flight. The calling card of the postmaster, Mr. Basin, is there. And on the right-hand side, you see a letter on the official UP exhibition stationery. This is in a native language used in the western part of India. And essentially what the writer is doing is he's enclosed this paper in a mail that he sent, and he's essentially complaining about the 6 anna fee that he felt was very excessive for mail to be carried on this flight. The cachet that was designed, the die was cut at the postal workshop in Allahabad, was to be affixed in magenta. About 15 to 20 impressions are known in black, and these were typically used by Captain Wyndham and few other people associated with the flight, and are much sought after and cherished by collectors. On the left is a postcard with the die proof marked on it, and on the reverse it is written in the handwriting of Mr. Wyndham. He writes, "With the founder's compliments," signs it W. Wyndham, and write, "The only ones done in black." So this itself highlights what was special about it. On the right is the only known cover addressed to the Oxford and Cambridge Hostel, which was the beneficiary of the 6 anna surcharge on every letter. So it's addressed to Reverend Morton, Allahabad. and again carries the black cachet. The What you see here are postcards. These are slightly bigger than postcards. These were made with a photograph of the actual plane that was used on the flight and are signed by Henri Piquet, the pilot. And you see here two varieties of this postcard. The one on the left has first Arial post February, and the one on the right has the word Allahabad added, and instead of 11, it says 1911. Both of these are signed by the pilot. And on the other side, you see what it looked like. So there was place for a postage stamp, the cachet, and the address. There's a receiving mark of Allahabad of the 18th February as well, which is quite visible on the bottom. On the left here, you see a third postcard, which was not recorded until just a few years ago. This is on a thinner card paper, slightly a few smaller, and only 4 or 5 copies of this one are known. So this is called the Type 3 postcard, again signed by Henri Piquet, and it has a black cachet on the reverse. So obviously means there was something special about this and was probably made for just a few people. We see Mr. Piquet in a photograph on the right-hand side signed by him. This is a 1909 photograph on another plane. This is not the plane that he used on the flight. This is Captain Walter Wyndham, the organizer of the flight. He was working for the Humber Motor Car Company and was sent to India to promote the Humber Sommer aeroplane. So he lands up in Bombay in 1910 and this crates of aircraft with him on the ship, and is instructed to proceed immediately to Allahabad, where there is this exhibition, and demonstrate the plane. So he goes there, and he's the one who hit upon this brainwave of flight with mail to be carried on it. So this is a postcard again signed by Piquet, but also on the bottom right signed W. Wyndham, and he describes himself founder of Arial Post. So this is the only known postcard which is signed by both Piquet and Wyndham. Here is another postcard which shows the aeroplane early morning in Allahabad. You see Piquet sitting at the controls of the plane and Wyndham standing in the front. This was again flown on the 1911 flight. This is again one of the 2 or 3 known postcards with this image, which were actually flown on this flight. About 6,500 postal articles were totally carried on this flight. So material with this cachet is not so rare. It's quite easily available and obviously forms the start of any airmail collection worldwide. Here is another letter addressed to Captain Wyndham at the Club Allahabad. And on the right-hand side, you see this card, which he got printed, signed these, and sent it to various friends of his all over the world with the souvenir, with covers as a souvenir. Notice here that he talks about the aeroplane flight. He says, carried by an aeroplane under Government Post Office regulations on 20th February 1911. So he obviously had planned the flight much later, but the actual flight was on 18th February. We have 3 different types of registration labels that were used on mail that went on this flight. So on the left, you see what we call the long label. So this has the R Allahabad in a boxed cachet in black, with the number 492 appearing outside on the left. The cover on the top right has the R Allahabad within and the registration number within the box itself. So this is the short printed label. And then we have the hand-stamped registration label at the camp post office, which has R and the registration number 83 written by blue crayon. So these 3 types of registered mail were carried on the flight. Incidentally, the cover on the left is the only known cover with service stamps, OHMS stamps used on the flight. This is addressed to the secretary to the Roman Catholic bishop at Lahore, sent from his chaplain, who was in Lahore cantonment, but perhaps visiting Allahabad for the exhibition. This is my favorite. It's the first underpaid airmail in the world. So this is a cover that was addressed to Mr. Stevenson, care of Thomas Cook and Sons in Paris. And it reaches Paris, it gets taxed 30 centimes. Thomas Cook immediately redirects it to address in England at Southampton. The 30 centimes postage due labels are annulled, and it is then sent to England without any postage due collected there, because it was correctly franked at the 1 anna imperial rate for Britain. So this is again something, again, a historical cover of the flight. Mail was carried to so many different destinations. These are different destinations within India: Jabalpur, Lahore, Mao. Postcards also had the same 6 anna surcharge, as did the regular mail. And of course, since there were many philatelists, you'll see, like, for example, the cover on the right-hand side has been clearly over-stamped. I think the intention was to get multiple impressions of the cachet. He has succeeded in getting 3. The largest known is actually 17. There's a cover with just full of stamps on the front and the back. It's a pity I didn't show it in this exhibit, but it has 17 cancellations on it. This is mail sent to different parts of the world. The cover on the top left was sent to England. It has a cachet received in England in inland section without contents. The one on the top right went to Hamburg, Germany. The one in the middle is sent to Jamaica, British West Indies. This is the only known cover sent to the West Indies that was carried on that flight. So, I mean, there is all kinds of interesting mail that was carried here. So with this, I've kind of covered really the topic that I wanted to. After this, of course, Captain Wyndham was called to England, where he organized the first aerial post in the UK. So this was in September 1911. The flight was from London to Windsor, or was it Windsor to London? It was from London. Sorry?
Hendon to Windsor to start with on the 9th, and then come back on the 16th from Windsor to London. Well, Windsor to London, actually Hendon.
Thank you. This is a cover addressed, which flew on the flight, addressed to Ambala, India. Yes. Captain Wyndham was later knighted, and he was Sir Walter Wyndham. To me, as I conclude my presentation, I just like to share with everybody that I think this date of 18th February is very, very significant. It's the one day, and this is one event that unites airmail collectors from all over the world together. And it is our wish that, we can all celebrate this day every year as World Airmail Day. We are writing to all the different airmail societies, associations to celebrate this, hosting exhibitions, workshops, and other activities. To do this, we will be doing this in India as well. And if we can build enough momentum, over time, we would like to petition UNESCO to give due importance to this day as World Airmail Day. So what we are doing is organizing the first international virtual aerophilately and astrophilately exhibition called AMSEPEX 25. So this is 15th to 23rd February. Thank you to the American Airmail Society for agreeing to jointly sponsor this. We also have joint sponsorship from Cosmos, the Belgian Astrophilatelic Society, and we have patronage from the PCI. We have a website for this, amcpex.com, and I'm reaching out to all the other airmail societies worldwide to participate and to extend support and patronage and sponsorship. So the IREX is already uploaded. The entry form should be up in just a few days. And the categories are basically We have the competitive class for 5 frame and 8 frame. We have a youth class for 3 different age groups. Something innovative is a novice class, which allows 3 frame and 5 frame exhibits for novices who've not exhibited before. We also have a 1 frame category there, and then a literature class. So we are hoping to get lots of participation in MCPEX. Encourage all of you. Please reach out to people you know and encourage them to participate, and certainly participate yourself. We will also be having hosting a webinar and having various other fun activities during those days. So just before I end, a little bit about Airmail Society India Foundation. We're the new kid on the block, just born in February this year. We have secured membership of FISA and Philatelic Congress. We have 41 members now, hope to increase this. And we've launched our YouTube channel. This is called Hawa Se. Hawa Se is by air. And as a logo, we've adopted something that was designed by Stephen Smith way back in 1926 as the logo for the Airmail Society India. And again, all of you are welcome to join as members. It's a 3-minute registration process. Some of you already have, and again, thank you for joining. So with this, I have come to the end of my presentation. I'm going to stop sharing and happy to answer any questions or feedback.
Very good. Thank you.
Oh, good. Nice to see you all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, PK, and I will be happy to join you.